list data type. A list is a sequential collection of Python data values, where each value is identified by an index. In Python, the values that make up the list are called elements, and similar to the string, which are ordered collection of characters, except that the element of a list can have any data type. I can mix different data type in a list, number, string, or even another list in a list. And in some way, Python list is similar to array in other programming language. Again, except that it can hold different data types. You have seen a list used in the for loop before. For example, for months in list of January, February, March, etc. And I can print each of the month name one at a time. For I in range 10, the range function returns a list in which the for loop iterates the list. To create a list, we use the square bracket, and you can create a list with value or create an empty list. Again, the list can have any data type, and you can even mix the data type within the same list. And why don't we take a look at this example in the PyCharm? What happens when you run this? So I have this ready, and let me run the debugger on this, so we can do line by line execution, and you can see what's going on. And let me go to the console and step into my code, and you can see in the debugger, if you look at the screen on the top in the editor window, you can see the vocabulary has iteration, selection, and control. And after the number equal to 17, 123 executed, you can see the number has 17, 123, an empty list, mixed list. And when you do the mixed list, 5 times 2, actually it evolves into 10 here. And so if I print the number, it will print 17 and 123 list. If I print the mixed list, it will print hello, 2.0, 10, and a list 10, 20. And I can combine two lists together, number and vocabulary, and if I print a new list, the new list is now, I have two elements. The elements are 17, 1, 2, 3, and a list of iteration, selection, and control. When you look at the number element in the list, take a look in case of a nested list. Take a look at a list within a list. It only counts as a one element. So for example, the new list only have 2 elements, even though each of the elements have more than 1 element. And since lists are similar to the string, many functions and operators that work on string also work on list. For example, the len, len, the len function, return the number element in the list also. So for example, if I have a list for 3 elements, high, 1, and 2, print len or a list, what do you think I'm going to print? Well, you're going to print 3 here. B list has 1, 2, 3. B list has 1, 2, 3, 4 elements, even though 10, 20 is a list within B list, but it only counts as a 1 element. So B list is 4. And finally, length or span 1, Bree, Rowford, and 1, 2, 3. How many elements do you think it is there? Well, let's find out in the PyCharm. So again, I will set up my debugger. and run the debugger on that. It's right here. And go to the console so you can see the output on the bottom of the screen. And you can also follow the data on the editor window, what the data value is as I debug the code. B list, print B list. It will be 4, and print length of this. Now you might want to pause the video before I review the answer. And the answer is 4. There are 4 elements: spam 1, and this nested list of Bree, Rowford, and the list 1, 2, 3. And you have seen earlier, like string, we use the index operator to access the element in the list. And just like string, index start at 0. So a n element will have an index of 0 to n minus 1, and negative index what too, from minus 1 to negative n. Same as how the string work, because both of them, string and list, are sequential collection data type. So these work the same way. For example, what will be the output of the following code? Again, you should be able to read the problem and able to find the solution or determine the output. Number sub 0. This is 0, 1. This is the index 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So numbers sub 0, it will give you 17. Numbers sub 2 will give you 87. What about numbers sub 9 minus 8? What is 9 minus 8? 9 minus 8 is 1, so that will give you 123. Numbers sub negative 2, negative, so if I go negative, that would be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, and so forth. So numbers sub minus 2 will be 8398. Alright, do you think you can do the rest? Try it out, and I will review all the answer on when we meet in class. The in and not in operators work on the list also, just like string. I can check whether an item or element is in the list. If the string apple in fruit, where the fruit list have apple, orange, banana, and cherry. Is print pears in fruit, berry not in fruit. What do you think? Well, again, let's run that in a Python, PyCharm, to see what happened. And let's run the debugger so we can do line by line execution. And you can see I will check the console. So apple in fruit, yep, apple is in the fruit list. Pear in fruit, nope. The fruit list does not have a pear. If berry not in fruit, yep, berry is not in fruit. Take a look how the in and not in operator work. Again, I said it before, we will use this in and not in a lot in many of the assignments, because we are looking for where the some item or element is in the list that we're looking at. Much like string, you can also use the plus, the concatenation operator, to concatenate list. And when you concatenate list, both operands must be a list. So this is a list, this is a list, and I can add them together. In this case, it will create a list with 3 elements. I cannot add a list to a number or append a number to a list. If you want to do that, that's a different way to doing that. You can also use the repeat operator, the multiplication, the repeat operator to repeat item in the given list. So if I have a list times 2, and then that list will be repeated twice. It comes in handy when you want to repeat some item in the list. Both the concatenation I would say the concatenation operator will use it a lot, and you will see why in a second. You can use a list conversion function to convert any sequence into a list. Again, the sequence data are string, list, and tuple. So if I have a string, Python, and using the list, what do you think it will convert into? If I have a tuple, we'll talk about tuple in a second. If I convert into a list, what do you think you're going to have? And if I have a list and convert the list into a list, what do you think the B list is going to be? Well, let's find out in the PyCharm. Again, I will just run the debugger and me go to the console and step over the code. You can see Python at the string has 6 characters. When I convert into a list, it's a list of 6 characters, individual characters. So in other words, it has 6 elements. If I tuple with 2 elements, 12 and 24, and I convert it into a list, the num list is now a list 12 and 24. If I have a list, a 2 element, and convert the list to another list, then I just have a list. The list function just converts string, list, or tuple into a list. So given this, what do you think the output of the following code? Again, you should be able to read the code and determine the output. Take a look here. And I will reveal the answer during class. Please try that before class though. You can slice the list also. The slice operator works similar to the string. And using n:(m), I can slice from beginning to the end, but not including the end. Given these slice here, what do you think the output going to be? Well, let's look at PyCharm again. Again, I will run the debugger and go to the console so we can see line by line output instead of everything at once. 1:3 from the second element in index 1 to index 3, but not including 3, and that will give you B and C. Index 1 and index 2 only. Column 4 meaning from 0 to 4, not including 4. So in this case, it would be A, B, C, and D. A lists up 3 columns from the third element all the way to the end. And that would be D, E, and F, all the way to the end, including the end. And column by itself, that means the entire list. A, B, C, D, E, and F. Take a look at this code here. So given a list is an ITAB136 ball bat, how do you get the first 4 elements? How do you get the second to the 4th element? How do you get the 5th element to the end of the list, but not including the end element? How do you get the 5th element to the end of the list, including the end element? Think about this, try it, and I will review the answer during class. And if you have a list, you can delete the element from a list using the del function. I can delete an element using the index. I can delete the element using index here, or using slice, so I can delete multiple elements. And I can delete the whole thing using slice also. So you can add element using the concatenation operator. You can also use del to delete an element. And finally, Unlike string, lists are mutable. That means you can change the element in a list. Once you create a list, the element in the list are changeable. So for example, I can change, I have a fruit list, banana, apple, and cherry. I can change the first element from banana to pear, and the last element from cherry to orange. So let's look at PyCharm and see how it works. And again, I will debug this so I can do line by line. Go to the console and step into my code. You can see banana, apple, and cherry is my fruit list, and I set fruit sub 0 to pear, fruit sub -1 to orange, and now I have pear, apple, and orange. I have an A list is A, B, C, D, E, and F, and A list sub 1 colon 3 equal to X and Y. I can use the slice operator to update two of the elements. And when I print the A list, now the B and C become X and Y. I can also delete them using slice operator. I'm going to delete 1, 2, 3, not including third element, and the X and Y are gone. Using slice to delete element is better than using a del. It's much more simpler. Thank you.